Get out the spray. Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. My name is Constance, and you may notice I've got a whole stack of canning jars here and food preservation jars because it's not just for canning. I'm going to be doing some food preservation today, and I thought I would just bring you into the kitchen while I do that. First of all, I am going to be doing the second phase of my homemade kimchi. I have a video that I did back in February where I took you through the entire process of making kimchi. Well, up until the tasting. I had to check back with a different video for that one. But I took you through the process of preparing and starting the kimchi. And so I have a batch that I started, and I'm going to be starting the next step of that, actually putting the rest of it together. If you are interested in that, I will put a link to that video. It was for the Fermented February series collaboration that was hosted by my friend Anna over at Fermented Homestead. And so I'm going to be making some more of that. I'm also going to be photographing it along the way because I never did put that recipe on my website. And so I will be photographing it so that I can then add the actual recipe to my website, cosmopolitancornbread.com. That way people can easily access the recipe. And so once I get that going, the next thing that I'm going to be doing is some canning. My first canning here in the Arkansas homestead kitchen, and that is going to be some pickles. I had an Asia Standard delivery yesterday, or pickup yesterday, and I went and got. And one of the things I had ordered was a case of cucumbers, some organic cucumbers, so that I can make Mr. Smith his favorite pickles. Now I'm pretty sure I do have a video on that, but I know it's on my website, and I'll put a link to those down below. But I am going to bring you in here and we'll chat while I am doing all the things. suppose I should probably throw an apron on, but first I wanted to show you my t-shirt. So this is one of my new designs. I love cornbread. You can get your own I love cornbread t-shirt, tank top, hoodie, etc. over at my Spreadshirt shop. There's a link for that in the video description down below. Oh, and there are commercial mugs that you can get there as well that are very inexpensive. They're not beautiful handmade pottery mugs, but they are coffee mugs if you really, really want a Cosmopolitan Cornbread mug. And I have ones on there that aren't just Cosmopolitan Cornbread. I'm pretty sure I have an I Love Cornbread mug and other ones like that there as well. I've got my cabbage draining. Actually, let me pour that out there. All right, we want this to drain, but we do want to keep this brine water because we may need that. So I'm just going to set it out of the way for now. And I'm going to start working on the rest of my goodies for the kimchi. All right, friends, so I'm about to start working on my other veggies for my kimchi. Got my cabbage draining down there in the sink. I have the brine reserved just in case I need it. And so now I'm going to start working on the veggies besides the cabbage. And I'm just going to peel some carrots first. And I thought I would mention, because I had so many questions about it, when I shared about my mishap, you know, getting kicked in the head by a mule, I mentioned that I immediately started taking an antibiotic and that it was an herbal antibiotic. And I also mentioned that I wanted to try and figure out a recipe for it. Now, I don't have a recipe for it yet. However, I am happy to share the herbal antibiotic that I take. And I mentioned that the #1 ingredient for that herbal antibiotic was black walnut leaves. And it's also got things like plantain and other currently easily accessible herbs. And so I am more than happy to share about that herbal antibiotic. I ordered it from Amazon, and you can probably find it at a well-stocked natural grocery store, herbal store. But it is Dr. Christopher's, and he makes all sorts of really great natural products. And I did provide a link to it in the description of that video, but I still received so many questions about it. People don't always check the video descriptions to see if I provided information there. A lot of times I do. I don't always. Sometimes I don't foresee a question. If I think someone might ask about something, I usually try to provide the link. But I'll go ahead and put the link in the video description of this one as well. So if you want to get some of that and just have it in stock, you know, for emergencies, it might be wise to do so. I always have several bottles on hand, just in case, because you never know when you might have an accident and might have some sort of wound that you want to make sure you doesn't get infected, and take antibiotics as a preventative. I have had other family members take the same thing, helped with an abscessed tooth and things like that, got rid of the infection. And so, you know, of course, here's the disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice, blah, blah, blah. Do your own homework, etc., yada, yada, yada. You know how it goes. But in any case, I also had a ton of questions in my last video about this particular knife that I use. It is a Wusthof knife. I've had this knife for several years. It's a little on the pricey side, but honestly, good quality knives usually are. But to me, it's worth the money to spend it on a good knife and have it last, you know, practically forever, as opposed to buying cheap knives, having to sharpen them constantly and not having them last. So I think it's good to spend the money on good quality items. That way you buy them once instead of, you know, over and over, because in the end you end up saving money. Alright friends, so I have been working on my kimchi and watching some YouTube while I was at it, and I'm getting ready to start loading this up. Woo, look at that. Into my jars. Actually, I need to get a picture real quick. Grab my camera again. This is the life of a food blogger. Alright. Grab my gloves. Putting all of this into my jars. And I don't know if I'm going to need 2 half-gallon jars. I may only need a half-gallon and a quart jar. So I have a clean quart jar over there ready and waiting, in addition to another gallon jar. Or half-gallon jar, I should say. Mash that down in there real good. May not even need a quart. Might just need a pint, actually. Alright, and then this is going to go into the pantry, cool, dark place to ferment. About 3 days we should be seeing some bubbles, And then 1 to 2 weeks, and Mr. Smith can dive in. All right, friends, so I ended up not being able to get my pickles done today. I had forgotten I had a couple of errands I needed to run. So, of course, when you're living out in the country and not in town, it takes a little bit to run those errands. So I went ahead and I got those done today. And so tomorrow, bright and early, I'm going to be getting up and working on the pickles. I did get the kimchi finished. That's in the pantry doing its thing. And Mr. Smith will be looking forward to that in a couple of weeks. But otherwise, I had a very good day. It was a productive day, and I am really looking forward to working on the kitchen soon. I had a couple people ask me when I thought I would be getting started on the kitchen renovation, and originally it was supposed to be last week. We were planning on getting the first set of new cabinets and installing those until I got injured, and that just kind of threw a little bit of a hiccup in the plan. But I've got a couple trips coming up, so I'll have to wait until at least after my first trip is completed, because that is this week, and then I might be able to squeeze the first portion in between that trip and the next one, which would be Homesteaders of America in Virginia. So we'll just have to kind of play it by ear. I do need to have good weather to transport the cabinets and all of that, but I don't think rain is going to be much of an issue. We did actually get a little bit yesterday, which was glorious, but it wasn't much. It was just a short little shower, a little bit of thunder, and that was that. I had hoped we would get a little bit more from the remainder of that hurricane, but no such luck. But in any case, that is it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me here at the homestead. My name is Constance from Cosmopolitan Cornbread, and I'll talk to y'all next time.